What is going on, YouTube? We are back today. We're talking predictions for Week 3 of the NFL. We got an interesting slate. We got some games that I think are going to be good, some games that probably aren't going to be that great, but maybe be some nice little bet games. But let's just get right into them. I'm your host, Dalton Lee. So first off, we have on Thursday night tonight we have the 0-2 Dolphins going to Buffalo to play 2-0 Bills. Not really going to talk about this one a whole lot, mainly because there's not much to talk about the Dolphins. The Bills are just better. The defense is a little questionable. I think a couple guys are hurt now, but I trust what the Bills got going on, coaching wise, personnel wise, the whole nine versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a tire fire. If the Dolphins lose this game, I'm seriously looking at a Mike McDaniel firing, maybe actual trade talks for Tyreek Hill, things like that nature to be seriously in the works. But again, if the Bills win, which I think they will, they're favored 11.5. I think they probably win by more than that. They'll be 3-0 with two division wins already through 3 weeks. So they're just getting ahead of the curve for, you know, postseason play, even though that's not till January. It's never too early to start getting it ready in September. So I got the Bills in that. Next, I got Falcons Panthers. It's at 1 o'clock. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm starting with the Falcons. Falcons have a lot of playmakers. They can get the ball up and down the field quick and in a hurry, and can put some points up on you, whether it be passing or running. Their defense, I still don't know if it's incredible. They were definitely better than they were last year, but I don't know if they're world beaters yet. But with all that being said, their defense is better than the Panthers, I would say. Just from what I've seen over the first 2 weeks, I would say they're better. The offense is a lot more consistent than the Panthers are. I'm as much as it breaks my heart to do so, I think I'm going to take the Falcons in Bank of America. I'm not going to say it's going to be like a blowout. I think it's going to be a one-score game yet again. But maybe this is the week where I pick against the Panthers yet again and they win. Almost worked last week, so maybe this is the week. It's the one game I'm okay with being wrong with, as long as it means my Panthers win. The very next game, we got the Bengals going to Minnesota. We got the battles of the backups. It's Jake Browning. It's Carson Wentz. I'll be honest, I don't think a whole lot of people are going to watch this game. Right now, it's got Minnesota at 2.5 point favorites. That's probably right, because even though it's the backups, I do trust Carson Wentz more than Jake Browning, and the Vikings have the better defense. The Vikings will be at home. I'm not saying they're going to blow out the Bengals. I mean, they still got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to cover, but I would trust the Vikings more to win this game. Plain and simple. It still might be a shootout a little bit though. So I mean, if you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, or Jefferson, you're probably still gonna have a decent fantasy game. Or Mason, the running back, Jordan Mason, probably still have a decent day. But I'm taking the Vikings in that one. Next matchup, we got Steelers to New England, two 1-1 teams, and honestly, this one might be sneaky good. Might be sneaky good. Right now, Pittsburgh is a 1.5 favorite, but the Patriots are coming off of a pretty good game. Granted, it was the Dolphins, but they had a pretty good game on both sides of the ball. I think it's really going to be a matter of what defense are we getting out of Pittsburgh? Are we getting the defense that we've seen the last 2 weeks, or are we going to finally get that Mike Tomlin style defense? Because I think that's going to be the difference. Aaron's not the problem. Aaron will score, but is the defense giving up 30 plus? again for a third straight week. If they're doing that to the Patriots, Patriots are going to win the game because I think their defense, even though they don't have like the names like Pittsburgh, will make a play or two at home. But it doesn't mean I'm betting on the Patriots. I'm taking Pittsburgh just because it's Aaron. They got DK. They have too much talent on defense to still be bad. I think they'll get it figured out. Drake might get off to a slow start, and that's when the Steelers will be able to pounce on it and just run away with it from there. So I'm taking Pittsburgh in that one. We got the Colts going to Tennessee. The line right now is 4.5, which I'm surprised and not surprised because Tennessee has put up some solid film out there with Cam Ward. But again, that offense, I worry about the playmakers not being consistent. The defense has been all right for the most part. But when I look at this Colts team, and I understand at quarterback it's Danny Dimes. But Danny Dimes has been cooking a little bit with the help of Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. He's got a plethora of wideouts and tight ends. They're just they're just playing like a well-oiled machine. I like what they got going on there. Even if you're not a fan of Daniel Jones, he's getting the job done. He's kind of having that. It's reminding me a lot of when we had those 3 or 4 years where the Titans were really good. When they had Tannehill, still had AJ Brown, still had Derrick Henry, and they just made things happen. That's kind of what it's reminding me of. Granted, Daniel Jones is younger than what Tannehill was at that time, and is a lot more athletic. But that's what it's starting to feel like. That it could be something like that. And if that's the case, that Colts team, they're going to be competing in some games. And I believe they're on that type of trajectory. Not saying they're going to go to a Super Bowl or nothing, but they'll be that dark horse, be second round of the playoff. Hell, might make it to a championship game. Who knows? They do got a pretty talented team over there. So I'm taking them to beat the Colts. I'm taking them to win by more than 4.5. I just think they got more playmakers on offense than the Titans do. And that's going to be the difference in that game. Then we got the 0-2 Texans going to Jacksonville. This may be an ugly game, but just based off of what I've seen, the Texans need to win this game just to get pressure off of their back. I mean, you're 0-2. You lost an ugly Week 1 matchup to the Rams where you didn't score a touchdown. Then Week 2, you look better offensively. Your defense is still playing phenomenal, but you lose by a point at home to the Bucks. You gotta get one win under your belt, and I think this week is going to be the week to do it. Because I have so many questions going on in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is playing a little bit better, but they're not utilizing Brian Thomas, which is weird. Especially after the year he had last year. He looks like uninterested to play football at the moment. Etienne's been solid, but I still question the defense a bit. I question the offensive line. And again, can Trevor Lawrence keep it up? This will be the best defense Trevor Lawrence has played so far this year. So I am also going to see how they block that front four, how he's ready to play against that secondary. Because even with how bad the Texans' offense is, that defense is top 5. Plain and simple. So I'm going to take the Texans to finally get the first win of the year to upset Jacksonville in Jacksonville. And then our big game, 2-2-0 teams. LA Rams to Philly to play the Eagles. Rematch at NFC Championship from... No, not NFC Championship. NFC Divisional from last year. Right out the gate, I do think it'll be a pretty good game. I think Stafford's going to come out to play. Puka is going to be ready. And Devontae. The Eagles, though, I mean, I feel like they do everything right. So, I mean, right now it's a 3.5 point spread. And if I were to be a betting man on who I'd take and why I would take them, it still's probably going to be the Eagles, just because Jalen Hurts doesn't have to carry the weight of the offense. Saquon Barkley doesn't necessarily have to carry the weight of the offense. Neither does AJ or Devontae Smith. And if they have a bad drive and have to punt, I like the Eagles defense more than the Rams, even though the Rams have a great defense. Don't get it wrong. They have a great defense, a young defense. I still like what the Eagles have more than the Rams. And I think at this point in their careers, Jalen can make one or two more plays more than Stafford. But I do think it's going to be a hell of a game. That's going to be one of the better 1 o'clock games, I think. Just looking at the rosters, looking at the matchup, looking at how they were last year. Last year was a one-score game in the playoffs. This year, I think it's going to be the same thing. I mean, Philly might win by 6, but still, it's going to be one of those. Rams probably going to have a chance to take it from them. I think it's going to be great television. But I'm going to take Philly to beat the Stafford and the boys. And then you got the 0-2 Jets going to undefeated Tampa Bay. Not a whole lot to write home about. I think Tampa's going to take care of business the way they're just playing. Even though at times the offense looks a little stagnant, Baker's making plays. Baker's finding his guys to make plays, whether it is Mike Evans, Emeka Ibuka, Bucky Irvin, Cade Otton, who I think everybody forgot still plays tight end, and instead of Bucky Irvin's Rashad White. The defense at times can be a little suspect, but still, when they need a stop, they're getting it. And the Jets are just kind of a tire fire at the moment. Um, I don't think I'm pretty sure Justin Fields is not playing because he's hurt. He's out with a concussion, so that's gonna be a big ordeal. You're gonna have a backup in Week 3 against this Bucks defense that is still a top 15, maybe top 10 defense. So I got the Buccaneers handling business at home, probably win by more than 6.5. And they're gonna put up some points. They're going to put up some points for sure. I would hammer the over on that. Right now, the over's at 43.5. I'd hammer the over. I could see the Bucks getting a 30 piece by themselves. So yeah, we're taking the Bucks there. Then we got Raiders Commanders battle of two 1-1 teams. At when I'm recording this, which is Thursday morning, I don't know if Jane Daniels is going to play or not. So we got to keep that in the back of our minds when I'm talking. Okay. The Raiders, I kind of like what they got going on offense. Geno's been a little up and down the first 2 weeks. I think Genty's going to be solid. Still got Brock Bowers, still got Jacoby Myers. The offensive line's solid. The defense isn't the best, but they're not the worst. They're right there in the middle of the pack. I think they're better than what they were last year. So it wouldn't surprise me if they come out and have a really good fight against the Commanders. But this is all if Jaden Daniels is going to play and is healthy enough to still be somewhat Jaden Daniels, they're not really going to have that much of a shot just because Jaden Daniels has Debo Samuel. He's got Terry McLaurin. He's got this rookie, Bill. This guy's a dog. He's making Zach Ertz have plays. I don't know how effective Jaden will be running the ball just because I don't know if he's going to be trying to nurse that knee sprain. But I would think the Commanders would handle business. They might still be able to handle business with Marcus Mariota. Depends on the type of Geno. If we're getting a Geno performance like we just had on Monday Night Football, Raiders ain't gonna have much of a shot. I mean, it was kind of rough by Geno. 4th and 5 with 4 minutes left in the game. We're just gonna throw it out of bounds. I'm not gonna. I already talked about it in the other video, but that did happen. I'm still going to take the Commanders. I just think they got more continuity. Second year under Dan Quinn, defense is going to be better. I think that offense will make enough plays to win that game. And you're at home. I like the Commanders there. Next game, we got Packers going to Cleveland. Not going to talk about this one too long, just because again, Packers look like one of the best teams in the NFC. Browns look like arguably one of the worst in the AFC. I think Packers are going to steamroll through, and I think this is going to be one of those games where, kind of like how the Ravens game was last week, where there were backups in the fourth quarter. I think we're going to get the same thing. Right now, Green Bay lines at 7.5. I think they win by more. Two scores, I think, for sure. I think Jordan Love's starting to get a little more consistent with his playmakers. That defense is on a new level, especially with getting Micah Parsons. They have just elevated their play. So I don't see a world where Green Bay just doesn't dominate out of the gate. And I mean, especially with the Browns, like you're putting out Joe Flacco as your best quarterback option. Get out of here, man. I mean, their defense is still solid. They might get a stop or two, but they'll get a stop, sit down for like 2 minutes, and then turn around and be right back on the field. So they're gonna get tired out quick. So yeah, I'm hammering Packers heavy there. Now we get into some of the 4 o'clock games. We got what I think is gonna be a pretty good game. We got Broncos to LA to play the Chargers. So again, the Chargers first 3 games of the year, all are divisional games. Kind of weird how their schedule works. So they're gonna like play 3, and then they're gonna play probably a bunch of non-division games, and then turn around and probably finish the year with division games. Okay, but they're at home. Chargers 2-0. Chargers have looked like they're transcending in the right direction. Right now, Chargers are 2.5 point favorites, and I understand why. I think the Broncos still have some question marks on the about the defense. The offense is still. Bo Nix bounced back last week and looked a whole lot better than he did week 1. But this Chargers defense is probably going to be the best defense he's faced all year. Justin Herbert is playing at a different level than we've seen him play in the last couple years. And I think it's gonna be one of those classic like 35-28 games where it's like, oh, who's gonna get the ball last to win it? I'm taking the Chargers at home. They're gonna start out 3-0. Broncos will be 1-2, but with the Broncos being 1-2, I wouldn't necessarily panic because it's still early, and your 2 losses would be to the team that would be number 1 in your division. Your other loss would be a fringe kind of BS type loss to the Colts, who would also in this scenario also be 3-0. So it's not like you're losing to bad teams. You're losing teams that are going to be playoff teams, which is okay. If you go 50, if you should beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And if you go 50% against playoff teams, you're still a good team. It just means you gotta clean up some things, make a different play here or there. And I still think that Broncos team is really good. I just think they're getting a little bit of a slow start out of the gates. But I think if this matchup happens mid-season, we may be talking about it differently. Who knows? But I'm taking the Chargers in that one. Next, we got the Saints going to Seattle. Not really a whole lot to talk about in this one. I still don't think the Saints are that good. I know Rattler had a decent game last week, but I just don't trust the Saints. I don't trust what they got going on over there. I trust a little bit more of what Seattle's got going on between their running game. Sam Darnold's only going to get more comfortable in the system. Seahawks have a better defense. That O line's better. It's just on paper, Seattle is the better team. They have them as 7.5 point favorites. I would agree with that. I'm hammering home Seattle. Seattle's just a good team through and through. They might they have a chance to make the playoffs. And what's really going to help is if they win their game, this next game, which is the 2-0 Cardinals going to San Francisco to play 2-0 49ers. Brock Purdy might play this week. That's what reports are saying. They haven't been definitive on if he is going to play or not. I think if he's feeling 60 to 70% healthy, he'll play. Just because this is a big game for early on in the season. Because winner this one's leading the division. So I think they're going to try and get that early lead in the division. But it's 2.5 point spread. I kind of can see it going either way. Cardinals coming off of a very close win against the Panthers, almost let them come back and win. 49ers are also coming off of a close win with the Saints. 49ers are playing with their backup, Mac Jones. Cardinals have their starters. But the Cardinals secondary is a little beat up. They got hurt a little bit last week when they played the Panthers. It's at home for the 49ers. I'm going to take the 49ers. It's Kyle Shanahan. They still got Christian McCaffrey. Jawan Jennings had a solid game. Ricky Pearsall had a solid game. Even if it's Mac Jones playing, Mac Jones looks solid. I think he'll be able to make the plays that need to be made. I think it'll be an ugly contest. I think it'll be a like 21-17 type affair. Nothing too crazy per se. But I'm going to take the 49ers to win and to win outright to take that spread. The last Sunday afternoon, 4:25, is the Cowboys going to Soldier Field to play Chicago. Right now, Dallas is only a 1.5 favorite, which I'm shocked at. Only because the Cowboys at least have shown that they can play offense. Defense is a little suspect, but they've shown they can play offense and they can score a lot of points. We saw that last week against the Giants. Even against the Eagles, they played really well offensively, outside of a couple drops from CD. But he made up for those in week 2. And really, the only time I can trust the Bears offense is those first 10 to 15 plays, the scripted ones to start the game. Once they actually have to go off script and call different plays to throughout the game, it's hit or miss. I trust Dak, I trust CD, I trust George Pickens, and surprisingly, the Cowboys have been able to run the ball decently. And this Bears defense does not look good at all. I got Dallas winning this one, being on their way to 2-1. The Bears would be 0-3. That's gonna raise some questions. Like, is this because of Ben Johnson? Is it because of Caleb Williams? You know, is DJ Moore going to request out because he hasn't really done a whole lot to start the year? Possibly. These are all possibilities that could occur. But 0-3 start for the Bears is not looking good for them. But I like the Cowboys in that game on the road. Next, the Sunday night matchup. We got, again, two 0-2 teams. One, I figured would be 0-2. Another, I'm kind of surprised they're 0-2. We got the 0-2 Chiefs going to New York to play the 0-2 Giants. I think it's going to be one of those weird Sunday night games. Like, the Giants might actually compete a little bit against the Chiefs. You know, for some reason, Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson are playing like two of the top wide receivers in the NFL, especially after last week. But their quarterback is still Russell Wilson. That offensive line is still very questionable, especially at left tackle, with Andrew Thomas still being questionable, and that Jordan Hudson guy is just a head case. Giants defense is a little up and down. I like their front four, but outside of that, the linebackers are a little suspect. The secondary is a little hit or miss. I think this is going to be the game where Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they get the ship turned and start getting back to who they are. I like the Chiefs in this one. I don't know if they're going to win by more than 6.5. Might still be a close game, but I think they're going to get in the win column and get the monkey off their back of being 0-2. I think they're going to get their big win. But I don't necessarily think that, like, we're going to look at the Giants and be like, oh, Russell Wilson played bad, oh, this, oh, that. I think it's just strictly going to be The Chiefs are going to be a more well-rounded team than the Giants, and I just still trust Patrick Mahomes in close game situations. Put the ball in his hand, he's going to make plays. Doesn't matter if he's at home on the road. I don't see a world where the Chiefs start 0-3. I don't see it at all. So I got Chiefs winning that one. I would believe in it a lot more if Rashee Rice was playing. He's still serving that suspension, but they still got Travis Kelsey. They still got Xavier Worthy if he's cleared to play. I know he's still kind of questionable. I trust the Chiefs to figure it out and win this game to ride the ship back. And then our Monday night game, two teams that we thought we might see play each other in the Super Bowl last year. We got the Detroit Lions going to Baltimore to play the Ravens. I can't remember if they played this game last year, but I think it's gonna be a great game. I think we're gonna see some high-powered offenses on the field. Baltimore's 4.5 point favorite. I would agree with it. I think if they get back to running the ball, I know Derrick Henry had a rough week last week running the ball. If they can get back to running the ball as consistently as they do and open up that passing game for Lamar, it's going to be a track meet all day. Jared Goff and them will still put up points between Amon St. Brown, Jameson Williams, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs. They'll still put up points, but I still think the Ravens are going to be better on both sides of the ball. That Lions defense has looked a little suspect at times, whereas the Ravens, outside of the Bills game at the end of the game, they've tightened things up. The offense is looking a whole lot more consistent. I mean, when they played the Browns, they had no name receivers catching 20, 30-yard bombs. If they can do that with their regular playmakers, and Derrick Henry actually be able to run the ball like he did against the Bills, they might be one of the best teams in all of football. I am going to take the Ravens to win. Lions might cover the spread, though. It might be a 3-point game. But I am taking the Ravens to win this game. And I think we're going to have a couple good games this week. I'm excited to see how a lot of these work. There's some divisional games that are going to matter for later on throughout the season. There's going to be some early playoff type games going on. And some teams that are trying to right the ship, get back in the win column before things get ugly quick. So I think we're going to see a lot of hard-nosed football throughout the weekend. I'm excited. I can't wait to get into it. That's all I got. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. If you're new here, subscribe. And if you disagree with any of my picks, bets, throw it down below. Let's have a little discourse, if you will. I want to be engaged with y'all and talking with y'all throughout all of this. Build a community here. But until next time, deuces.